Since the beginning of the year, so much of the real estate world has been completely turned on its head. There is so much going on right now in real estate, aside from high home prices, high interest rates, and high inventory. On top of all of that, we also have this beautiful NAR settlement that we're dealing with. And by beautiful, I actually mean kind of complicated and very nebulous. This will ultimately change and affect the way that we do business. And with these changes, there are implications for home buyers and for sellers as well. This video really is to help educate everybody, but more specifically home sellers, so that you know what to expect and what your options truly look like when you are selling your home in this new wild west of a market. Today, I invited my friend and co-realtor, Rima. Rima also has a YouTube channel where she talks about real estate in Austin, so I thought she would be a great guest to have today. Yes. Hey guys, I'm Daphne Quay, your boss lady realtor here in Austin, Texas. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the Austin area, please contact me. My contact information is in the description below. Also, if you want to set up a direct one-on-one Zoom call, the link for that is also in the description below. And if you are watching me from any other part of the US and need to buy or sell a home in another state, feel free to reach out. I can totally get you hooked up with an awesome realtor in your area. I have realtor partners all over the United States of America. If you've been following the real estate market and studying the news, I'm sure you heard about the NAR settlement, NAR settlement, and what that all is. But if you haven't, we're gonna give you a high-level explanation of it right now.
Okay, here it goes. NAR settlement is a legal case where the National Association of Realtors and some big real estate companies were accused of keeping fees for buyers' agents high. The lawsuit said that these practices made home buying, selling homes more expensive for everyone. As part of the settlement, NAR and others agreed to change their rules to make it easier for people to see and negotiate fees, helping to lower costs for home buyers and sellers.
So, again, kind of on a high level, basically what we used to do before, which was not that long ago, like a week and a half ago, when home buyers would come to us as realtors and wanted to buy a home, we would do a buyer consultation where we ask them questions about them, what their goals are, where they want to be, price range, style of home, all of that. Then the home buyer, if they weren't already pre-approved, they would go talk to a lender, get pre-approved, and once we got that pre-approval letter, we would go look at homes, and eventually the buyer would find a home that they want to make an offer on. We would write that offer, we'd go under contract, and then close 30 days later. And I'd say 97% of the time, the realtor commissions were already negotiated by the selling party, not the buyer, but by the selling party with their listing realtor. So when we were representing the buyer, we already knew that we would be going into the transaction making X% on the sale of the home. And that's not something that we typically had to ask the buyer to cover. So we're going to talk a bit about what we have to do now, what the process looks like now, and what that means for you as a home seller or home owner. So now that you know what the process was like before, I'm just going to give you kind of a high level again of what the process is like now for home buyers. Basically, we still do our buyer consultations, or I'm still doing them, are you too?
Yes.
Yeah, just like before. We don't have to sign anything for the buyer's consultation, but when we want to go look at homes, that's when buyers have to sign a buyer's representation agreement with their realtor. And that buyer's representation agreement is going to have outlined exactly how much that realtor can make on the sale of that particular home. That's something that the buyers and their realtor will figure out between them. We don't necessarily get to see that document.
But during our listing appointment, as you're ready to sell a house, we're coming on, we're going over everything. The very important part now to discuss moving forward is the compensations. What are you guys going to be paying the listing agent and also the buyer's agent? That's all going to be written out in the listing agreement going forward from now on. So very important to consider, especially when you're selling a home in this market. What do you say?
100%, yeah. I think these new regulations basically imply that the seller does not have to pay a buyer's agent, which I think we could say technically is correct. However, just like Rima said, like on any given day, we literally have 13,000 to 15,000 homes sitting on the market. Average days on market is 60 days plus, and that's just in Austin. That's not taking into account the other areas around Austin that are even slower. So just have that in mind. So if we couple that with high interest rates, high price of homes, and homes in Austin are still expensive. They've gone down in price, but not anywhere near what they were in like 2020 or 2019. That Also with high property taxes, high inventory, and now a buyer might potentially have to pay their realtor an extra 3%. That adds up.
That adds up. And you may not get much of a showing if the buyer knows that you're not paying the buyer's agent, because what if they're first-time home buyers?
Yeah.
Like, they can't afford it, right?
That's a really good point. So feel free to tell me what you think about this. But something I thought about is that the folks generally that have the most limited resources are going to be first-time home buyers and elderly folk on a fixed income. So just like any other buyers, a lot of times they have their down payment, often closing costs, inspection fees, title costs, and costs of appraisal. Of course, these things add up. So you've got this lump of money that is due, and then throw another 3% on top of that to pay the realtor. And these are two demographics, like first-time home buyers and sometimes folks on a fixed income, that don't have the extra money to spend on a realtor, and they are the ones that usually end up needing the most guidance. Feel free to chime in on that in the comments. As always, keep it respectful, guys. We're here to empower and lift each other up and learn. Yeah, so all of that to say, I'm still encouraging sellers to offer a buyer's agent compensation.
Yeah. And same with all my sellers that are coming on the market. We're talking about this, and also that have already active listings that are going on. We're talking about this and how important that is, especially if you're in a rush or ready to sell your home.
So like we mentioned, buyers are now required to have a buyer representation agreement with their realtor. When we are selling your home, we will receive a formal offer from the buyers. They'll send us the offer, and that's got the terms and the price and everything that they want to put on the table, along with their pre-approval letter. Another thing that's now going to be required is another document outlining what they are asking for the buyer's agent compensation. We haven't had to use this before, so this is new for us too. So I'm just going to share this with you briefly. We're not going to get too much into the weeds, but also as a seller, so we know what we're looking at and what to expect. So this is the addendum regarding the broker's fee. At the very top, we put your home address or the property that is being sold. Then if we hop down to paragraph B, it says this will be in X county, so Travis County if you're in Austin, Williamson County if you're in Round Rock, Pflugerville, Georgetown, etc. Okay, so then we jump down to D. We see that we have two options. It says one, listing broker shall pay X amount to the other agent. I'm paraphrasing. And then we have option two. It says seller shall pay X amount to other realtor. Again, paraphrasing. What they, I think the real estate association gods are wanting us to do is highlight seller pays, because they want to put the control back into the hands of the consumer and the home sellers. So we're supposed to say the seller pays X amount. So here we have the option to put a dollar amount or a percentage. I think percentages are best because they're cleaner that way. And then we would check subparagraph B, where seller would pay X% of sales price to the other broker. And this is the document that we get with the buyer's offer. So we look at their offer, what their terms are, if they want to ask for closing costs, when they want to close, what else they're asking for. And then on top of that, we have this addendum that says also we want you, the seller, to pay our realtor X% or X dollars. Now this is something that could be negotiable like any other term in a contract. We just want to look at the offer and see how strong the offer is. If it's a really great offer and they're being very reasonable buyers, and then they're asking for us to compensate their buyer's agent and the numbers make sense, if your net as a seller makes sense, then we can move forward with it. If they're asking for something ridiculous, if they want all your furniture, if they want you to have everything repainted, and then they want you to pay the realtor 5%, so we can just say hard pass.
Yeah.
Thank you, have a nice day. This is generally what we're gonna expect to see. Everybody signs everything, and we can see that everybody is in agreement. I guess, where have you found that your seller clients kind of fall on the spectrum?
I have a mix right now. Depends on where they're at and how serious they are about selling their homes. The ones that are very serious, I need to get out, they know the value of the benefits of paying the other agent, buyer's agent. So they're all up for it. They're like, hey, we're fine. We want to sell this. We want to compensate the buyer's agent. We're up for it. But I do have the other listing agents that are testing it out, seeing how it goes. And that being said, they have been sitting at the market for a while. So we're going to have to re-talk about this and see what we're going to do about it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a mix of it right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of times as buyer's agents, I think people underestimate the amount of work that goes into it. Even if we only go out with a buyer and look at a home over a weekend instead of several months of work, they think like, oh, that was really easy for you. Maybe you don't deserve to make this money, etc. But there's for me anyway, and you almost too, there's like a decade worth of work and education that's gone into being able to guide them into making the right choice for them and their family, and it is ultimately an investment. All of that to say is, if we are on the selling side and we're not compensating the buyer's agents who are literally still working very hard, it's gonna be a lot tougher to get the home moved, especially in this market where we have such a surplus of inventory. There are so many new homes. Literally, these new home reps are calling us and texting us, for me, on a weekly basis to see if we have anybody. It's important to be competitive in this market, and then hopefully understand the value that buyer's agents still bring to a transaction. Now, there is the one-off every now and then buyer that's bought like 15 houses in their lifetime, and they've done this a bunch and they can represent themselves. They don't want to ask for any compensation. Okay, great, whatever. But that's literally maybe 1 in like 300. Let's see, I got licensed in real estate in Austin in 2012. I've never had a successful transaction with anybody representing themselves.
No.
So I don't know. Okay, that's kind of neither here nor there. I'm sort of going off on a tangent, but there's so much nuance and so many point of views on this.
For sellers to know that the buyer's agent, because they cannot see what the compensations are going to be on the MLS, they have to do an extra work of calling the listing agents and asking them, hey, are you guys giving anything to the buyer's agents? What's going on? So it's another effort for them to make. And if their agent is not picking up a phone call, guess what? Your property is probably not going to be shown. Or if they find out we're not giving anything, then they may not be shown either. I don't know.
You made a really good point about hiring an agent that picks up their phone. Because a lot of times realtors don't. Everybody in every industry, everybody in the world right now is getting spammed with all sorts of like calls all the time. And I just feel like a lot of realtors just don't answer their phone as much. So make sure, if anything, your realtor is somebody who picks up their phone. I know that's kind of a small little aside. But it's important.
I don't think it's small. I think it's a major thing, especially if you have a listing that you want to sell. Your agent should be picking up that phone call, please. So
okay, get you an agent that answers their phone. Okay. Anything else you feel we should cover?
No, but there's one thing that I want to make sure that I know you sellers are going to be very smart, looking at the market, how everything is going, and handling this in a right manner.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I think that's a great point. I'll leave it at that with a closing thought. Very cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I've got on this NAR settlement. If you want us to cover some more information on this in the future and kind of keep you updated on what's going on, let me know. It's really helpful to get your feedback and see what kind of information is most beneficial. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Daphne Quay, your Boss Lady Realtor. Till next time.